Hey, how's it going, everybody? Chef Ron or Uncle Ron, Brother Ron. This video is going to be on two different channels, on my Ron Sombrano's Humanized channel on YouTube and also on my cooking channel, Chef Sombrano, on YouTube, because what I'm talking about is actually food business, and it deals with the human aspect of things too. So I'm gonna talk about a company that's been closing stores lately, and the company is Denny's. Okay, I'm gonna read. It's from thestreet.com. All right. So I'm gonna read it as is. It's dated July 5th, 2026 at 9:32 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. All right. So this one is written by Kirk O'Neill. All right. This is by Kirk O'Neill, written for thestreet.com, and it writes. It says, beloved breakfast restaurant chain closes 150 troubled locations. The iconic breakfast dining chain closed restaurant locations after it was acquired in January. Right? Breakfast dining chain Denny's continues to reduce its restaurant footprint as some of its underperforming franchisees close locations amid weaker customer traffic and higher operating costs. Fewer customer visits and lower sales can lead to underperforming restaurants, which was the case with iconic breakfast diner chain Denny's, which closed another troubled location at the corner of Rosecrans and Jarvis Street in the Point Loma area of San Diego, according to KFBM TV. The closing follows at least 3 other shutdowns and a franchisee bankruptcy filing this year after the chain closed 150 Denny's locations in 2025. 150 restaurants, folks. That's a lot of stores. And I'm just gonna comment right now. My family's been in the food industry. I've been in the food industry. My family owned restaurants, so they know what it takes to survive, especially now with leases going skyrocket, food prices up the yin yang. It's a hard business to be in. It really is. You have to be total business savvy. You have to be up with the times, up on trends. You have to focus on quality. You have to focus on staffing. You have to focus on so many variables in the food industry. If you own a food truck, it doesn't matter. It's a tough business to be in. And only the strong survive, all right? So Denny's closes San Diego location. Diners trying to enter the Point Loma Denny's on June 22nd were met with a big red professionally made sign that seemed to have been produced days ahead of time for the closing that read, "Thank you, Rosecrans. We're moving down the street," according to KFMB. The sign proclaimed the legacy breakfast. Enjoy breakfast on us Saturday, June 20th. Come in for a flyer. Another handwritten sign in ink outside the front door read closed. Visit Denny's at 3920 West Point Loma Boulevard. Right? So restaurant property advertised for lease. So this is interesting. The 1601 Rosecrans Denny's location was advertised for lease by Strategic Real Estate Incorporation in early June while the restaurant was still operating, according to San Diegoville. The Point Loma Denny's opened in 1966 at a time when the area was rapidly growing, along with nearby military installations, the fishing fleet, and expanding tourism. The location was a favorite of Navy personnel, San Diego International Airport travelers, late night diners, college students, and families seeking breakfast all day long, San Diegoville reported. Denny's traces its roots to the founding of Danny's Donuts in Lakewood, California, back in 1953, which later became Denny's Coffee Shop, and finally Denny's in 1959. Chain sold to private equity. Denny's Corporation sold the company to a group led by private equity firm Tri-Artisan Capital Advisors, LLC, alternative asset investor Trayville Capital Group, and one of Denny's largest franchisees, Yadoff Enterprises Incorporated, for about $620 million in an all-cash transaction that closed on January 16, 2026. The company became a privately held corporation at the close of the sale. It operated 1,459 global restaurants consisting of 1,397 franchised and licensed restaurants and 62 company-operated locations, according to the company's last quarterly report ending September 24th, 2025. The San Diego restaurant is not the only Denny's location to close this year. The restaurant chain closed locations in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and in Kalamazoo, Michigan, in February of 2026, WOOD TV8 reported. Franchisee owner of the locations, Den Ohio, which owned 10 Denny's units, filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy in 2023. Also, Denny's franchise in Midland, Texas closed its restaurant in early January 2026, according to the Mashed. Franchisee filed for bankruptcy. Denny's restaurant franchisee DBJ US Corp. filed for a Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection on January 27 to restructure its financial obligations. The Miami Beach, Florida-based operator of 7 Denny's restaurants in South Florida filed its petition on January 27 in the U.S. Bankruptcy Court for the Southern District of Florida, but did not indicate a specific reason for filing its case and did not say whether it would close any locations. Among the causes for underperforming restaurants has been a decrease in diner visits, as 45% of restaurant owners claim customer traffic declined between May 2025 and May 2026, while only 29% claimed traffic rose in that period, according to the National Restaurant Association's Industry Tracking Survey released on June 29. It was the 15th time in the last 16 months that restaurant owners reported a net decline in customer traffic. The declining traffic observed by the National Restaurant Association over the last year also affects same-store sales, as 33% of restaurant owners reported a decline in same-store sales in the same period. According to the survey, about 50% of restaurant owners, however, reported an increase in same-store sales in the same period, which was slightly higher than the 48% reporting an increase in the period ending April 2026. The remaining 27% of restaurant owners reported no change in the period ending in May. Labor costs have become prohibitive for running a 24-hour diner operation such as Denny's, according to the Street Advisor and RTM Nexus CEO Dominic Viscerandino. You can't run 24-hour operations on 2026 labor costs when food prices are up 34%. The all day breakfast used to be a superpower. Now, with 9% of full service spots at risk of closing this year, it's a liability, Mr. Randino said. Uh, Here's some Denny's closings in 2026. I'm just gonna read them off. There's a Denny's in San Diego. It's closed in June. Denny's in Grand Rapids closed in February. There's a Denny's in Kalamazoo, Michigan that closed in February also. And the Denny's in Midland, Texas closed in January, all right? So I'm just read this short article, and what's really changing now is just a lot of things changing. I'm getting older. The generation that loved the all night eats or the pancakes late at night, you know, chicken cutlets any time of the day, eggs any time of the day, coffee any time of the day. These kinds of eateries, this business model is fading away. It really is. I live on Maui, and we had Denny's and just couldn't survive. IHOP is the closest thing we have, and it's amazing they're still running. They're still in operation. They're in the Maui Mall, and I don't know what the leases are, but I think they're surviving on the budget menu because the everyday person who's struggling to pay the rent or the mortgage, the last thing they want to do is spend money in a restaurant. It's totally different from back in the 90s or even the early 2000s. It's a different animal now. People have changed their diets, they've changed their lifestyle. Like I said, the diner generation is slowly fading away. I am, and maybe the 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 people who are like 10 years younger than me, I think we're the tail end of that diner culture. Because the younger people really, the Instagram, the TikTok generation, they're really not into the diner kind of eateries, you know what I'm saying? And it's really sad when, I've seen like just small companies or small regional chains close down. I'm not going to name the names, but I know some restaurants on the mainland when I visited, the last few years, and a good breakfast joint that was open pretty much till midnight. That was open, and I would go there with friends and family and enjoy, a good chicken fried steak or whatnot late at night, thinking I'm going to come back in a few months and hit that spot again, only to find out a relative tells me, it closed down, and we drive by and it's fenced off. So it's a really sad thing because a lot of people like my age, or just anyone that enjoys that diner experience where you can just, it's really not a rowdy place usually. There's no alcohol served. It's just wholesome, family oriented. You can talk business. You can just talk about, a little league game, a soccer game with what happened with your kids. And it's a good, relaxing atmosphere. It's like comfort food. So it's like a comforting atmosphere. I mean, like even IHOP down the street where I live, it's a good concept, simple comfort foods, and you get coffee, no alcohol served. You want to get alcohol, you can go to a bar, but again, things are changing. And if you are in the food service industry right now, all I can say is hang in there, work hard. You got to do a lot. You have to keep up with your quality. You have to keep up with just everything. You have to keep up with social media. The thing is, if you have anything, let's say a little hole in the wall or a food truck, and you deliver a quality product that your little area loves, you have just a few items on your menu, and you rock and roll, keep that up. Don't change. Don't go messing with anything. Keep it good so that when you open your restaurant or your food truck and you see a line out the door, you're rocking and rolling. You're a rock star. Don't forget that. But the day you don't see a line, and every hour there's maybe one guy just comes in and buys a Coke, or it's just a finger food thing, then you are doing something wrong. Because if you work hard, you work your ass off, and there's nobody out there, but in your vicinity, there's people still with the kind of cash that they could afford your food, you better do something. If you don't have a line out when you open, if you're a lunch hole in the wall, you're open from maybe 10:30 to 2:30. Keep it simple, rock and roll, make your food the best. And once your quality goes down, or your culture, your attitude changes, you're going to lose customers. I've been in the business. So just think of yourself as like a kick-ass rock band. Every customer is a fan of yours. Your food is like a song, and those people standing in line, they want to listen to that song. They want to eat your food. So so this is just a short one. Again, this is on two channels, on my RS Humanized channel and also on my Chef Sombrano channel. My Chef Sombrano channel is basically everything to do with food, and also when there's closures, it touches humanity, because there's a lot of fans of what I just talked about, which is like Denny's or late night dining or 24-hour dining, if you will. So imagine people losing their jobs, and the economy goes south in a certain area. So it really affects everybody when a chain closes down. So that's all I gotta say. I don't get paid for doing any of my videos, but if you like it, if you like my Humanized channel, like it. Chef Sombrano, it's been around a long time. I haven't posted a lot. Please like it. Subscribe to both of them, my Humanized channel and my Chef Sombrano channel. Subscribe to it. Again, if you feel like both channels are worthy, or what I'm doing is worthy, I'm building my brand, and it costs money. But if you got, I'm not getting paid. I don't have any sponsors right now. But if you feel like you want to buy me a cup of coffee, I'll take that. People have been sending me a few dollars so I can go buy a cup of coffee. And here's my Venmo QR code right here. If you feel I deserve a cup of coffee, you can Venmo me some money, or lots of human monies. Like this guy, Danhausen, the WWE superstar. He always says, I want some human monies. I want a lot of human monies. That's what I want. So hit me up on Venmo, and I'll take as much human monies as you got. All right. All right, you guys take care. God bless.